I hope I have everything set up anyway. And then, actually, let me look up that one anime because I just found another anime that looks interesting. I have to add to the list. Are you hearing both audio or just the one? Oh shit! Oh, I haven't shared the screen yet. That's why. Hold on. I need to do that too. I keep forgetting about that step. Let's see which screen to add you to. I mean, it's just lo-fi background music. Or can I add you to the OB? No, I can't. That's media. That's Discord. There's no point adding you to the OBS. So I'll just add you to the lo-fi music thing. That's all that's really going to be in the background, really. Oh. Oh, I wasn't planning on it, but we can if you want. Oh, I was just gonna check it on my phone really quick. I wasn't gonna... But I guess I could. Well, this is more like a podcast, so I just wanted to talk about it as opposed to, like, show stuff. Does that make sense? Or unless you wanted to show stuff as well. Well, what kind of stuff did you want to cover? More just talking about, like, different RPGs I really like kind of thing. This is the intro, like, this is the first episode of our podcast. So I think we could just, like, take turns, like, talking about our favorite games and our favorite animes and stuff like that. That's what I was kind of thinking. Oh, crap. Hold on one second. Well, we're gonna do that just on the fly. Right? I did that in the wrong thing. I'm sorry about that. God damn it. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure something out here. On the start screen, I can't mute my mic on here because it mutes my mic on the normal scene too. That's weird. Because, like, I'm trying to mute my mic on just the starting screen and not the normal screen we're on. But that mutes it for the whole program. Hold on. That is weird. I kind of felt like we could just, like... No one's watching yet. Good. Okay. Kind of felt we could just, like, talk about, like, our favorite stuff. Just kind of like... It's not a one topic per episode kind of thing. It's just, like, we're gonna, like, go over whatever the hell we wanted to talk about kind of thing. It's kind of like a loose form. I will. What do you mean now? Okay. I guess we can probably start, right? We'll do a smooth transition over here. Look at that. Alright. I think we are live right now. How are we all
What's up?
doing,
How you doing, everybody?
everyone? Go ahead and introduce yourself, and then I'll go.
How you doing, good people? It's Jaloro Ursa. Nice to meet you.
And I'm Stray Fox. We welcome you to the first experimental episode of our Rainbow Host Club podcast here. Just a podcast where two otaku friends are gonna shoot the shit and talk about random stuff that we enjoy, from past and present, all that good stuff. That's the wrong thing. I was just gonna move something around. I'll figure it out later. How are we all
Technical
doing?
difficulties.
Always with me, you know, that's just how it is. Let me turn this volume down a tiny bit. I didn't want to pause it. I don't want it to. I just want it like in the background very low. There. That should be good. You can still hear us over that, right? I believe so. Alrighty. So how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good today. How about you?
I'm doing alright. Today is Thursday the 21st of September. It is close to fall. Always a great time of the year for me. Always a big fan of fall. Going on here. So, have you been watching any new anime or any old classics that you like?
No, not in a while. The main thing I've been doing right now is just studying different world leaders, studying some paranormal things, trying
that's interesting.
Figure out some puzzle pieces. Yep. Yes, indeed.
Is that like just for the heck of it, or is it like for like, are you in college or something, or just?
No, just on a quest to figure things out about the world and the fact that we deal with a lot of interesting, infamous people online, which is how we met in the first place. You know, It's interesting to try to see, why these people, why their brains tick the way they do, in the most negative ways possible.
That's for sure.
And sometimes that takes studying certain things about the world, studying certain things around you, and getting a different perspective. So, compared to what you already know.
I don't know, psychology has always been interesting to me. I probably should have gone into that when I went to college, but I didn't. I went into graphic design, and a lot of good that's done for me.
Yeah.
I know how to do a little bit of Photoshop. That's about all I learned.
Graphic design still, because that can still help you out in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I just don't utilize
There's definitely nothing wrong with that.
I just don't utilize it. Plus, I didn't get a bachelor's degree either. I only got an associate's degree. And in order to be like
there's nothing wrong with that.
Competitive in the field, though, you kind of needed a bachelor's, though. But,
like one thing that I've been looking at. Hold up, let me see. I'm on the web right now. One thing that I've been taking a look at that goes along with a theory I had, and when we was on the spooky podcast of yours, you and your beloved your beloved hubby,
Yeah.
and we was talking about different types of hauntings and stuff. There's one thing that I've been studying, looking up, that I forgot to mention, and I'm kicking myself in the head because of this. And speaking, it had to do with Philly boy. Remember how he monetized watching that 9/11 video?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was actually reacting on Decepticon stream, but that was just an awkward moment, and we didn't really have anything to say about that because, like, we didn't want to. You know what I mean? It's like it's not something to mock or even to react to, and you shouldn't have monetized it in the first place or even put it on there.
Yeah. So here's the thing: when he did what he did, and he decided to watch that on stream and make money off of it and monetize it,
Mm-hmm.
I turned around and, out of curiosity, because I knew like I want to say I knew like the bare minimum of what happened over September 11th, 9/11 and whatnot. So I went back to check a couple of things and, like do some research about certain topics concerning 9/11. And one thing that I found out that I didn't know before after watching this particular video that I watched was the fact that the scrap metal from the towers when they fell, a lot of that got sold to Asia. But first, where they shipped it at, they shipped it in this scrap yard in like Jersey City. And as they was like investigating and breaking it down, then most of the scrap got sold to some companies in Asia. And a lot of the scrap was broken down into certain pieces and given to different major cities across the United States of America.
Interesting.
Which, depending on who looks at that, and depending on the circle of people you run with, that's kind of bad. A bad
Like a
omen,
bad
a bad
juju
sign.
kind of thing, right? It has a bad energy to it because of all the people that lost their lives from
Exactly.
it.
That's
Right.
that will fall under like residual types of hauntings, and that sort of kind of got me thinking about a lot of stuff, because with residual types of hauntings, all that bad mojo and stuff, like that has to do with like people dying or like a tragedy or something bad happening in a particular place.
Like either
And
the
they call that
building or
also,
the land itself, and it's like they're kind of
yeah,
stuck in time, like repeating events that happen in their life. So they might walk in a
yeah,
floor plan that no longer exists, but they used to back in the day, so they still follow those paths and stuff.
and they call that the stone tape theory, where it's like buildings, inanimate objects, nature, whatever, it records negative emotions, like negative thoughts and feelings, the energy from either good things that happen, or well, positive. It could be positive energy or negative things that happen. If you got a place that has nothing but positive stuff going on, it will record that positive energy. If you have a place with nothing but negative energies going on, it will record that negative energy.
Right.
And the fact that a lot of places, like including Coatesville, Pennsylvania, which is not too far from Philadelphia, where I'm at, they have a piece of the towers there. And I mean, the amount of negative energy, if you was to probably get a hold of an actual psychic to investigate it, or like go near it to see, or even somebody that has like real empathetic spirit or a sensitive soul, a hypersensitive soul, they may be able to feel something. But the amount of negative energy coming off that piece or those pieces has been given to every major city around the United States, or almost every major city, would be astronomical.
Oh, I bet.
And that in tune also plays a part in a whole lot of negative energy that we may be seeing around us, and the different parts of the world may be seeing. Because this is gonna sound crazy too. It's gonna sound kind of crazy, but bear with me.
No,
Like
go
if you
ahead.
go all the way back to like Uh, the whole thing with Pearl Harbor and Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Hmm.
How America dropped those two atom bombs on Japan.
Yeah.
And if you think about it today, right, how in some weird roundabout way, you have a lot of younger people, a lot of different generations of nerds and whatnot that are like heavily influenced and almost obsessed with Japanese culture,
Right.
like for some strange reason, like even some to the detriment of their own health. And of course, there was a lot of negative energy, among other things, left in the atmosphere after Hiroshima and Nagasaki happened.
Oh yeah, I bet.
And a lot of negative energy turned around and gave us years later, September 11th, 2001.
Hmm.
Because the funny thing about it, there was a book written by a lot of the people involved in the Manhattan Project, which, built the atom bomb. And one of the guys in there, not Oppenheimer, but one of the guys that worked with him, said that after they dropped the bombs, he couldn't sleep for a year because he was scared that somebody's going to turn around and do the same thing to America one day.
Mm.
And technically they did, not with bombs, but with airplanes when 9/11 happened. So in a roundabout way, his prediction, his nightmares came true. And
I
then
mean, wouldn't a atomic bomb be more devastating though than just two buildings being destroyed?
it would, but the impact of 9/11 was just
Oh
as
yeah, well,
devastating. The emotional
there's no denying the impact
impact,
of it, right?
yeah, was just as devastating as when the two bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Right.
Because other than Pearl Harbor, nobody has really ever done anything that devastating
Right.
to the United States. So the impact was felt, and even spoken amongst themselves. A lot of people probably compared it to what America did to Japan back in World War II.
Hmm.
But in a roundabout way, that young man that worked on the Manhattan Project, his nightmares and his predictions came true.
Yeah, sure did.
And
And I
it's
know.
just amazing that. Go ahead. What you want to say?
No, go ahead.
It's just amazing that if you sit back and think about it, and that's one thing that it's strange to me. I'm indifferent by it, looking it up. If you look at all the bad things that have happened over history, and if the stone tape theory is correct, that like places, inanimate objects, nature could hold negative and positive energies and feelings like that. That could also explain a lot of the strange things that people see, the strange things that we hear, and the strange things that people do. Or like a lot of the different crazy, outlandish emotions. That could be a possibility to why these things happen. Because if you think about it, if you take every bad tragedy that's happened in history and you add them up together, multiply all the lives lost and the emotions and whatnot, that's a lot of bad mojo flowing around the planet.
Hmm.
A lot, and it keeps on stacking and stacking and stacking.
Right.
And that, in my opinion, that breeds a whole lot of people who end up not knowing how to handle those emotions, and they turn out to be people who are motivated by material things, greed, sexual things, and other crazy things like the lolcows that we talk about and we watch videos about, and the detractor groups that we're in that go against these people and their crazy ideologies. It's just that when it comes to putting two and two together and studying this crazy stuff, studying how the mind works, it's just it's fascinating stuff that you figure out, that you could piece together, the hypothesis and theories you come up with. Because it's telling. It's also telling when Phil monetized that whole 9/11 thing, didn't shed not one tear, but then he had the nerve to sit there and cry during the end of his Chrono Trigger playthrough.
Yeah, that pissed me off because like you don't have to be an empath to feel something. Like assuming, like, because I'm a little iffy on the whole what actually happened. Like we don't fully know, but assuming, I mean, it's pretty safe to assume that like fucking people died, right? No matter what the truth of it is, people still died.
People died.
And I assume, like, we don't know if those phone calls were actually from the plane or not, but those people aren't around anymore. So, all that aside, hearing people's supposedly their last words to their loved ones is emotion provoking, right? And it's like, it's really tough to hear those phone calls that they were playing and not get a little choked up about it, right? That makes more sense for being emotional or shedding a tear. I'm getting emotional just thinking about it, but because I remember it. But like, you know what I mean? It makes more sense being emotional over that than feeling nostalgic for the ending of a good game or something. I mean, I get that too, but he won't shed a tear or anything for that and just greedily monetizes that because it doesn't affect him.
And that just goes to show you what type of person that he is deep down inside.
Right.
What type of person you're dealing with.
He doesn't care about other people. And like, not
what
to
his
get
motivations are.
Yeah, and not to get too off track, but before we go, like, there was this one haunted location that was like a famous haunted location, and I can't remember where. I was watching some ghost hunters talk about the past of it, and it used to be like a war hospital of some sort, and they had gone, not these exact ghost hunters, but they're talking about other people who were like owning the building at the time. This was not during the war days. This was current year or whatever. Not current year, but like recent. And they were going in the basement to go down to where the war hospital used to be, right? And as they went down into the basement, the doors of the basement opened up. It was exactly like it was like they traveled back in time. The doors opened and they were seeing what was actually like going on in the war hospital. People were dying and everything, and there's like an old-timey like war uniforms and stuff like this.
Do you remember what city this was?
No, I don't. But like, I wish I could remember it. I vaguely remember it, but I want to say it was like in the South, so maybe it was like a Civil War era-esque thing or something. Maybe it was Gettysburg. I don't remember, but it was someplace, and it was like, and so like, and they were like quickly tapping the button to get out of there. They're like, okay, we need to go. Like, and as the doors were about to close, one of the old nurses who was like back in the like turned and saw them for a second, and like before the doors closed, and that like intermingling of past and current timelines, because I like to think like myself, I like to think time is not just a linear thing. Time overlaps. Time is like all around us at all times. The past, the present, the future, just on different wavelengths kind of thing, right? So it's really cool to me when there's different times.
Was it World War I era?
It might have been, yeah.
Was it World War?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but it was.
All right, go ahead. Finish what you were saying.
It's a really famous place. I'm sure you can like. I'm sure we can probably find it if we really wanted to, but it's not that big a deal where it was. It's just an example that I thought was really cool. Was like how the past and the present can interact with each other like that. And so to her, like see, like to if the nurse from old-timey days saw like two modern people like that, she probably was thinking she was seeing a ghost or something, you know. And obviously to the present people, they were thinking they were seeing ghosts or something like that too. So it's just really cool to think about stuff like that and how our past our pasts can interact with the future and vice versa and stuff. And I'm like, I bet that happens a lot more than we realize, just how the past can interact. And like, what if we can interact and witness like our future self as a ghost that died in the future? Because we'll all die eventually. What if like we interact our future self or witness our future self as a ghost or something? Stuff like that. It's just interesting.
You might have been what you saw might have been talking about Craig Lockhart. That's all in one word. It was a hospital for like psychological. It was a shell shock hospital in World War One, located in Edinburgh, Scotland.
Oh, okay, maybe. No, I thought this one was like in America though. I might be wrong.
Well, you said it was pretty famous, right?
I thought so.
Yeah, I googled like war hospitals, and that was like the first one that came up.
It's
It
possible.
was like around World War One. It was like Edinburgh, Scotland.
Okay, that might have happened then. I don't remember which one it was, but it was just really cool to think about that kind of stuff. And I don't want to get into the whole conspiracy theory stuff because that's my other channel. But like, if you want, but it's like it's just suspicious that they were really quick to get away.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
With some of the scrap
conspiracy
metal.
theories about what?
Oh, 9/11. I mean, it just like
as far as what?
And as far as like how quick they were to get rid of that scrap metal that was left over afterwards, like they wouldn't let anyone else notice or investigate or look through the scrap, like once they got rid of it, like they scooped it up, and before they spread it around, they stored it in like a warehouse somewhere, I think, before they ended up spreading it out.
They actually they investigated it.
Well, yeah, like they wouldn't let anyone else investigate it, though, is what I mean. Yeah, the U.S. government investigated it, but they let any outside
it happened on
committees?
It happened on U.S. soil.
No, I mean, obviously the U.S. government's going to investigate, but they didn't let any like outside third parties investigate it, though, is what I'm saying.
No, they did have the proper authorities investigated in the U.S. because it happened on U.S. soil. So there's no need for any other country to come in and investigate it because it happened on U.S. soil. That's
I'm just saying, like, you know what I'm trying to say? It's like not other countries. I'm saying like
no, all the proper authorities in the U.S. They did. The ones that needed to investigate it, they did investigate it.
I'm just saying I'm not trusting the official version of the events as told by our government. Is what I'm trying to say. Like, why wouldn't they let anyone else do a private investigation that wasn't from the government?
But you gotta elaborate on that. What do you mean by private? Because when it comes to matters of terrorism, like all government organizations are, they have to be involved in that. Like, what do you mean by private? Like this?
Well, it's not that hard. It's
you gotta explain private.
Like someone who's not related to the government in any way, like an outside party, like have like private investigators that like aren't working with the government.
Don't take this the wrong way. That sort of kind of makes zero sense because private investigators did have nothing to do with the government. That they have nothing to do with that. Like the CIA, the FBI,
which are all working together. Everybody. So obviously, if there was some alternative
they're not all working together.
reason,
technically, they're not all working together. Trust me, because they all cover different branches of different things. But like everybody that needed investigated, like they investigated, like they had that. If you're trying to go into that whole thing, it was an inside job. It wasn't an inside job. The only strange things, connections as far as conspiracy theories go, is the ties the Bin Laden family had to the United States presidents and certain people in power, before and leading up to 9/11. Like the Bush family had dealings with the Bin Laden family. Those are the only conspiracy theories out there about it, is the fact that like people before Bin Laden became a terrorist, like came from a wealthy family, and certain presidents and politicians in the United States and rich people had ties with the Bin Laden family.
Mm-hmm.
Then leading up to 9/11 and after 9/11, they tried to scrub all traces of the fact that these people were close to the Bin Laden family. And that's what you're getting at.
No, that wasn't quite what I was getting at, but
I mean, like it wasn't done by Americans. It wasn't an inside job. Like the video that I posted to you, they explained why they came down the way they did, but it just. The creepiest thing that I find with that is, like, in my opinion, they should have just melted that metal down after they did the investigation and whatnot. They should have melted the metal down and maybe recycled it but instead, like, they sold it to some company in Asia that they probably melted down what they got, and they put small pieces.
And Asia has
Well,
enough
not
goes
exactly
as it
small.
is.
They gave like small pieces to different major cities in the U.S., which that alone, that's kind of creepy. Because it's one thing to remember what happened. It's one thing to honor what happened, but you literally gave rusted, uh, partially destroyed, scrap metal pieces of a horrible tragedy from 2 buildings to like 50 different states. And that's no. From a psychic point of view, from a hypersensitive point of view, from an empathic point of view, that's a whole lot of bad mojo on top of all of the bad mojo that's been floating around the atmosphere.
Mm.
Like, it's just that when it comes to like studying different things, like, you got to go deep, like, you know. And it's like strange just telling the kind of negative energy we have out here when you have somebody like Phil who, you know, he cries over a game like Chrono Trigger, but then he monetizes 9/11.
Yeah, he shouldn't have accepted that as a donation or as a submission or whatever, though. He shouldn't have. Like, have some sort of fucking class and just not do that. Because whether, like, you think that, it did happen. Like, regardless of who did it or conspiracy theory here or there, it did fucking happen, right? There's no denying that it happened. So it's like, you just don't do that, you know? Like, how classless are you that you just can't fucking figure that out?
No,
But he
it takes a
monetizes
certain
everything.
type of asshole to do that.
He monetizes his dead friends. He monetizes his ex-friends. Still, even though they told him, like, that's the reason they stopped being friends with you, is because they didn't want to keep being monetized, and you're still monetizing them, you know?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And it's sad because when it comes to, like, you know, Phil, his basic income is him streaming video games, something that I've heard people say that he doesn't even like video games like that, but yet he's using that as a source of fucking income and shit. And here's the thing, when it comes to video games, like, one can't sit there. It's a hobby. It's an honest hobby. You gotta love what you're doing. That's with any hobby. Like, for people like us that's been playing video games or watching anime or whatever for like years and years on end, you can't sit there and play these fantastic stories, these beautiful fictional stories, and not get involved with these characters, get involved in what's going on, get involved in the storyline itself.
Exactly.
And not feel nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I mean,
and especially since he claims to be like a RPG fan. I'm like, RPG fans have some of the most engrossing stories. That's the whole point of a role-playing game, is to be immersed in that world. And he clearly doesn't give a shit. He's falling asleep half the damn time. Whenever he plays Yakuza and they're talking or whatever, he just fucking falls asleep. He's not paying attention. Unless some naked guy's running around whipping him with a fucking towel or some bullshit. Then he pays attention.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. It's like, you gotta have, what I'm trying to say is, you gotta have a passion for what you're doing.
And it's very clear when you don't have a passion. It's very obvious with Phil.
Yeah.
Like with Phil. Or hell, even
like, I mean,
even Rich and Revitek and Wings. It's clear they don't have passion for it anymore. They probably did at one time, but not anymore.
Yeah, you know, you can't just sit here and like everything's got to be about money. Everything's got to be about monetization. Because if you're gonna, for real, this is one problem that people have with him too. This is another problem. He is extremely boring. And when if you're gonna sit there and be a video game streamer for the rest of your life, you have to be entertaining when you're playing video games for people to make money. You have to love what you're doing. You can't sit there and be as blank as a dead horse, or, you know, you can't sit there and be quiet. You got to engage what you're doing. You got to engage with your audience. You got to act like you love what you're doing. Of course, people aren't going to tip you. You're not going to make money because, you're being a poser, and people have called them a poser. Because, like a lot of cool video games, like Chrono Trigger, for instance. I was around. I was, I believe I was in my teens. Yeah. I was in my teens when Chrono Trigger came out. So I was around when Chrono Trigger first came out on Super Nintendo. I was around when they had a lot of cool JRPGs like that had came out around that era on like Super Nintendo and Genesis and stuff. Like me and my little brother, we played from Chrono Trigger, beat it several times, did the new game plus all that cool stuff, all that stuff that Phil refused to do because he wanted to hurry up and beat the initial run of the game and then drop it so he can move on to something else. But
see, I never played Chrono Trigger when it first came out. I don't think I've ever fully beaten it, to be honest, actually.
Yeah, I was around when it first came out on Super Nintendo, and we played it, we beat it. Like I seen everything it had to offer.
Well, when I was a kid, I'm younger than you, so it's like when I was a kid, I had a Super Nintendo, but I couldn't afford a whole lot of games. It was like I would only have to rely on like going to like a yard sale, and maybe then I would find an NES or SNES game that we could afford to get. Or it's like once a year for Christmas, I might get one game kind of thing, So it's like I didn't really have a whole lot of choices when it came to SNES and NES games. When PlayStation and Xbox and GameCube first came out, that's when I was able to start getting some games. Even when the NEX, N64, holy crap, I can't talk today. I didn't have a whole lot of games. I had like Super Mario 64, and that was kind of it for N64. But I had quite a few decent PlayStation games. That's when I started being able to get some. So I kind of missed out on, as a kid when they first came out, on a lot of Super Nintendo games, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I played as a kid growing up, and I could tell you, like, even a beautiful game like that, like, it does hit you in the feels if you're like a real gamer, somebody that's into stuff like in the fantasy worlds and stuff like that. It does hit you in the feels, and it is a very beautiful, emotional game to play. Now, for Philip to sit there and Phil acted. It wasn't genuine to a lot of people. It didn't seem genuine. His response to playing that game, because. And a lot of people believe that he was lying when he said he played as a child because they only recall, I think, like the 2015, something like that, time when he played through it on his YouTube channel, whatever, when he played the game.
Yeah.
But it's like, not even Chrono Trigger, like the games he plays in general, like you have to be animated. You have to be a gamer that loves video games, loves fantasy, loves fiction, to sit there and make money off of streaming games to people. You can't sit there and be bland. The only time you talk is when you're complaining about something, or you're chastising the chat, or you're chastising trolls, all of the dumb stuff that Phil does.
I got a few things.
You gotta see.
Go ahead. Like I've messed around with trying to stream. Like I only did like 2 streams of 2 different games, but like I'm not trying to do it for money. I was just like experimenting or just doing it because it was on my PC and I was gonna play it anyways. I'm like, might as well try streaming on that, right? But like, I know I'm not the best at like talking a lot, and I'm not very entertaining. I don't think, or at least I'm not funny, right? I have a hard time making like jokes or anything like that. But even I, just trying it out, talked more about the game because I knew what I was talking. I knew the game because I was playing it and I've played it before. So it's like I was talking about things in the game and my history with the game. So I was actually like, I didn't have dead air. I wasn't complaining or bitching or like, you know what I mean? So even my like very few times where I tried to experiment, I was arguably better than Phil was. Because, like, I still had a passion for the game. I still knew what I was talking about the game that I was playing. It was more, like, at least somewhat more animated and more entertaining than him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not a very hard thing for anyone to do. I think like literally almost anyone could probably be more entertaining than fucking Phil, but
I mean, it's just if you're gonna do it, in his case, if you're gonna do it to make money, if you're gonna do it for business, like he calls, you know, that stupid Burnell Productions, over that crap is that he calls himself being in charge of, his so-called business, you have to approach it in the way of an entertainer, and he's not an entertainer. You have to approach it in the way where even if you're losing, no matter if you're losing or winning, you're entertaining your audience. You're not getting mad. You're not getting pissy. You got to be positive. You got to be engaging. You got to make people want to watch what you're doing. Like, I mean, you got to have passion about this. Just like, I mean, when you're picking through the animes and mangas you want to watch something or read something, or even with comic books, cartoons, you're going to engage in something that resonates with you.
Right.
I mean, like, everything's not for everybody. Like,
it's not like I'm just gonna randomly throw something on.
Yeah, like Dragon Ball's not for everybody. Justice League's not for everybody.
Right.
One Piece not for everybody. The Avengers not for everybody. It's understandable. You're gonna pick something that resonates with you. You're gonna pick something that speaks to you, that you love, that you're passionate about, that you could read for hours and hours on end, or you could watch for hours and hours on end, or even maybe even play for hours and hours on end. Something that when you have a kind of like, if you're sitting there, like if you're a Dragon Ball fan, or matter of fact, something that we both agree on, if you're a Ram and a Half fan, right?
Yeah.
you're gonna sit there, and if somebody brings up Ram and a Half, or you're having a conversation with other Ram and a Half fans, everybody in that conversation, if they're truly fans of Ram and a Half, if they care about it, they're going to be very passionate about their responses, what they say, how they feel about it.
It's funny you say that, actually, because I was watching Len the Deranged the other day, and he mentioned he brought up Kuno from Ram and Half. I'm like, oh shit! So I was in the stream chat talking to him about it. But then my mind drew a blank on what one of my favorite girls in the anime. I'm like, why am I drawing a blank at what her name was? Ukyo. I was talking about.
Yeah, the one with the giant spatula.
Yeah, and she cooks like Okinamiyaki or whatever it is, and it's like. She's one of my favorite characters, but I was blanking on her name for some fucking reason. I'm like, no, I need to rewatch the anime apparently, because holy crap, I blanked on her name for everything. And then she started thinking it's and then he said Nobiki is basically a good version of Phil, because she's at least honest with herself, because you know how she's always wanting money for stuff. So I'll do this, but you need to hit me up. I need to get that bag. So it's she was like, yeah.
That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, you're gonna be everybody that likes that, or a fan of that, they're gonna be passionate about it in that conversation. They're not gonna be like, oh, well, yeah, guys, well, I'm here. Or yeah, I'm here, go Ranma. Yeah, we love Ranma.
Or it's
and that's
when
how
fucking,
Phil is.
Yeah, every time Phil plays an anime game, he's like, oh yeah, I was a big fan of this back in the day. I used to watch One Piece a lot. Bullshit.
Lying his ass off.
Fucking shit. You never watched One Piece. You never read One Piece. You don't know.
Just like that lie he told about building Gundams with his daddy.
Yeah, there's no way.
Because you know how you can tell it's a lie, because he's a year younger than me. He was exposed to Gundam in America around the same time I was exposed to Gundam in America, him being a year younger than me. And there wasn't that many Gundam model kits in America around that time when people first got, wind of it. You had to go to a hobby shop or a place that sold imports.
Yep.
Okay, he wasn't building no Gundam models back then because he barely wanted to interact with his dad, and his dad wanted to teach him other things about life or have fun with him. He does this because he says stuff like that and lies about stuff like that.
Because he wants to relate to the actual audience or whatever. People who actually have a soul and actually have likes and things they like, and he wants to be like, oh no, I'm one of you guys. I like that too. I'm like, bullshit, you don't.
Yeah, he wants his audience to sit there yeah, Phil, I watched Gundam. I was building Gundams with my mommy too. Yeah, here's some money. Yeah, no,
exactly.
It don't work like that.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work like that. But you gotta love what you're doing. I mean, just and
that's why they say don't. That's why they say don't what's the right phrasing of it? It's don't let your hobbies become your job, because then you will like it'll kill your passion for it, kind of thing.
Or something else I heard people say, like if you truly love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Right.
Like if you love what you're doing on your job or your career, then you're not really working. It's not really a career because you love what you do. So you're not really working because you love what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mean, like off the top of your head, like favorite manga.
Probably around more than half, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. Again, like you're going to, and when you're going to talk about it, you're going to discuss it. You're going to be very passionate about it. The people you talk about it with, hopefully, they're real fans. They're going to be very passionate about it. You're going to be all smiles and giggles about it, fond memories. You could go on
Yeah.
for hours and hours on end. Just like when I used to work at a 7-Eleven with one of my little brothers and shit, and we had some Overwatch fans, Overwatch players that worked in the same area that we worked at, and they would come into the store. We would be talking for a long time about Overwatch gameplay and experiences, or any anime, whatever we was into. Like
Well,
when we knew other nerdy people that worked in the area, they would come in, they would talk to us for hours, and the time would fly.
yeah, or like
Because
when
like
you were in
when
like
you're
college.
passionate about something,
Because like when I
yeah.
was in college, there's like you find people that are like playing the same games you like, or playing Magic the Gathering too, and you're into that too, and you're like, yeah, and you just talk for like ever about different decks you built or whatever, or different animes you like and everything like that,
Mhm.
and you're like, oh shit, I gotta go. Look at the time. It's like, where'd the time go? Exactly.
Exactly. Like you're gonna be very, very passionate about what you love. Like you're not gonna sit there and be like, oh yeah, whatever. Oh yeah, Cobra, yeah. You're not gonna be like that. You're not gonna be dead like how Phil sounds or complain about everything. You're going to love it. Like Phil's money that he's expected from these streams, or like anybody who wants to stream, should come naturally. If you love gaming, or if you love podcasting, you love talking to people, or if your videos or about like anime or manga or like comic books or something, whatever you're doing videos on, whatever streaming platform you're on, if you truly love it, the money will come naturally because you're not doing it to make money. You started doing it as a hobby, something you love, and the monetization just came naturally. You're
And
not sitting there every 5 minutes like, yeah, remember, support me, blah, 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 support me,
Mhm.
support this. Like, yeah, like,
And that's another thing.
you
It
gotta
doesn't
love what you
matter.
do.
It doesn't matter how many people are watching you. You could have one or two. We don't have anyone watching us right now, but like I don't think we do. But it doesn't matter how many people you watch. If people watch this later on as a vid or in the podcast, it's like
Mm-hmm.
as long as like you enjoy the content you put out, people are gonna pick up on that and resonate on that. And it doesn't like as long as you entertain one person, that's all it really matters, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter how many people there are. It doesn't matter the views or the impressions or like people get so sidetracked in that like money thing. It's like, no, just do it for you. Do it for entertaining someone. As long as you like, as long as someone else enjoys your content, that's all that really fucking matters.
Exactly. That is all that matters.
People don't get that.
Yeah, like for me, like one of my all-time favorite animes of all time is let me see, I'm on Google right now. Tetsuden 28.
I never heard of that one.
Let me see. Wait, hold up. 28 is it? Wait a minute. Okay, I gotta type in this. Oh, come on now. Google wants to be an idiot.
While you're off on that, let me say something.
Man, I
real
gotta
quick.
go ahead.
I was trying to think of like what's a nostalgic game for me that was like part of like because like there's a lot of RPGs that are nostalgic for me, but I'm trying to think of like older console RPGs that were nostalgic for me because again, it's like these weren't necessarily games I played when I was a little kid, but they were still games that I played like as a teenager and stuff when I later on started getting access to ROMs and emulators and stuff. And specifically like Super Nintendo, Genesis era games. I'm trying to think of those older type of games, that RPGs that I liked. And because like I never really got into. Well, I wouldn't say never got into. I just never had the opportunity. Well, I know so much about Chrono Trigger. It feels like I already played it when I haven't. Does that make sense? So it's like I don't really feel any need to play it because I know so much about it already because I've seen other people play it so many times and stuff. So I don't really have a burning desire to play that game because I've already seen so many people play it. But for me, like a big one that I really loved, and I had the Game Boy Advance version at the time, which was slightly like better translated, was Breath of Fire 2 was like one of my big ones. I loved that game growing up. It was such a good game. That Shining Force games.
I posted
like
posted in the chat sorry, excuse me. I posted in the chat my all-time favorite anime of all time.
The New Adventures
like if I had to pick one.
Gigantor.
But in Japan it was known as Tetsugen 28.
Yeah.
And like Italy and stuff like that, it was known as Iron Man 28.
Oh, that's cool.
And like Brazil, it was known as no, actually in Italy it was known as Super Robot 28. But you know, Tetsugen translates to Iron Man, so you know.
That's pretty cool.
But it's known as Tetsugen 28 Japan, and like Italy and stuff, and like Mexico and all that was known as Super Robot 28, and America was known as Gigantor.
I just have a really hard time narrowing it down to like my one favorite anime of all time, though. You know what I mean? It there's so many good ones. It's like it would be more of like a tier maker where it's like a couple are S rank, but I don't know if I'd be able to narrow it down to just one.
Yeah, that's like to me like nothing else tops that, like for many reasons, but you know that's just me. Like so if I'm like if I'm sitting there talking about Tetsugen 28 or you know what they known back in the day, because it actually, this is a anime that originated in the 60s, one of the first animes. Like it was Astro Boy, Tetsugen, 8-Man, and the original Techno Man, whatever they called it. Those like the original 4 like animes back in the 60s. Like old school animes and shit. And they lasted throughout the years. Like when it comes to Super Robot 28, like I mean, yeah, my history with it, watching it as a kid when they had it on Sci-Fi Channel, the dub one, and then watching the Japanese ones on YouTube. Like yeah, it's like that's my all-time favorite. Yeah. Like is that? Then it would be Fist of North Star. Then it would be actually it would be Vampire Hunter D. Then Fist of North Star. Then Sailor Moon.
I've never actually watched Sailor Moon, surprisingly.
It's pretty good. Yeah. It's okay. It's got its uses.
I'm trying to think. I think my first ever anime that I watched, not counting Dragon Ball, because I don't think we should count that. Like everyone's seen Dragon Ball, but other than that, like the first ever anime I watched was something called Martian Successor Nadesco. A friend of mine had the DVDs of it in school, and I asked to borrow it, and I watched that. And that was really good. And I'm not even a big mech fan, and I still think that was pretty good. And then it turns out years later, I realized it's like a parody of like, it's kind of like a spoof or parody of like big mech animes, but still good in its own right. Like, but like I enjoyed it without even realizing it was a parody because like it was one of my first animes I watched, and I still enjoyed it though. And then obviously I started getting into watching other ones like Ranma and Half and Excel Saga, Love Hina, fucking Neon Genesis Evangelion, which I don't really care for, but
yeah, I never got to Evangelion. Love Hina wasn't my thing.
No, I know. I'm not saying these are my favorite. I'm just saying these are some of the ones I first grew up with. I mean, I'm not saying Love Hina's on the top of any of my lists. It's not.
No, I'm just saying. I'm saying like I heard the names before, but like no,
Right.
I couldn't get into them.
No, I get that.
Yeah, like there's a lot of ones I couldn't get into, but like yeah, I definitely heard of them though.
Yeah, that was just some of the
But like
earlier ones I got into. And then
but
obviously
like
you got Dragon
Sailor Moon,
Ball and
yeah,
Inuyasha.
like Sailor Moon though, I do recommend it. Like
I
you could
do
either
want to
like
watch
the
it.
original series
Yeah,
or
I,
the
I
original series or Crystal. Like either one is good. I do recommend it. And fun fact I learned, the creator of Sailor Moon is actually married to the creator of Yu Yu Hakusho.
that's cool because Yu Yu Hakusho is a good one. I do remember watching that on like
Yeah, I
Toonami,
just learned that.
I
I did
think,
not know that.
or was it? No, it might have been Adult Swim. I can't remember which one it was on. I think it was Adult Swim. Yeah, that was a good one. I need to rewatch Yu Yu Hakusho because that's always a good one.
Yeah, and of course also growing up in the '90s, the Ronin Warriors. That was on top of my list too.
Rurouni Kenshin also was really good.
It was. It just you know that I still got a bad taste in my mouth from the creator of
Yeah,
Ronin Kenshin being
yeah,
a
I've heard.
PDF.
Yeah, I've heard of that though. It's a real shame, and it's like
Yeah,
I kind of don't
and the
want to
creator.
watch the new one now. The remake, I kind of don't want to watch it now because of that. But is he even
Yeah, it
still
left
in
a bad
charge of the
taste in
new
my
one
mouth.
of the remake? Though I don't think he's in charge
I
anymore.
don't know. But just like the guy that created Toriko, which is another Shonen Jump anime and
Yeah,
manga, like he got caught with the same type of charges too,
yeah,
and that left a bad taste in my mouth too.
yeah. I hear you. It's a shame.
So it's like it really is. But look at the time though. I mean, I do gotta run to take care of a few things, but like we did a good hour. It's been fun and interesting.
Yeah, it's been fun. Not bad. We um. Oh, so before we go, I wanted to I just found a new anime that I'm planning on.
Which one?
It's a newer one. It's called Kashi Triangle.
I gotta look that up later.
Yeah, it looks interesting. Well, let me give you a brief synopsis really quick. It takes place in a fictional city. It's basically like an exorcist ninja guy. Um,
Sounds interesting.
it looks pretty good, but it's more of like a romantic comedy, fantasy romantic comedy. Like I like the one animes where it's like more like slice of life romantic comedy with some action. I don't like action 24/7. I need comedy
Yeah.
mixed in. You know what I mean?
Yes, indeed.
But yeah, I'll let you go then. And yeah, thank you for everyone who did watch this. This was really fun and it was really good. Hopefully next episode will be a little bit longer. I'm sorry about that. But yeah.
Yes, indeed. We're going to try. And thank you. Thank you for this time. This was just, of course, like the premiere episode, like a test, like a
Yeah.
pilot, if you will. So next time it's definitely going to be more prepared and we're going to be more focused and more ready to tackle some beautiful things and beautiful hobbies.
Sounds great. All right.
Yes, indeed, my friend.
Stay chill.
But good seeing you people.
Stay true.
Yep.
And be honest with yourself. Like, enjoy what you
Exactly.
Live
Yep.
without
And
fear
don't be
or
like
prejudice.
Dark Side Phil and do it for the money.
Don't be like that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, love you all. Love you, my friend. And thank you again for having me.
No problem. This was a lot of fun.
Yep.
Bye, everyone. Screw that up. There we go.